Okay, completing the square part 2. Now this is for when we have a coefficient which is not 1, it's 2 or 3 or 10 or whatever else. So this is what we do this time. So the first thing I'm going to do is I need to be dealing just with an x. So I'm going to divide all of this. I'm going to restate the question, but I'm going to divide everything by the thing that will get rid of that 2. So I'm going to divide this by 2, this by 2, this by 2, and of course this by 2. So 2 divided by 2 leaves me with an x squared. A 4 divided by 2 gives me a 2x. And I've got a negative 3 on 2 is equal to 0. Now I want to get rid of the 3 on 2, so I'm going to add 3 on 2 to both sides. And of course, negative 3 on 2 and 3 on 2 is 0. So I've got my x squared plus 2x equals 3 on 2. Now I'm going to take the 2 here, the coefficient of the x, so it's not a negative or anything, it's just a 2, so I'm going to say plus 2, divide it by 2 and square it. So plus 2 divided by 2 and square it. So it's the same thing on both sides. Now I'm ready to put this inside my brackets for my perfect square. I've got an x, 2 on 2 is 1, so I'm adding 1 to both sides. I'm adding 1 to this. I've got my squared outside. Now I've got my 3 on 2, or 1.5. 2 on 2 is 1, 1 squared is 1. So I've got my x plus 1 all squared is equal to, well, I've got my 3 on 2, that's 1.5 plus 2 is 2.5, or 2 and 1/2. I don't really like 2.5, to be straight up with you. I'd much rather have 5 on 2. So I'm actually going to write that as 5 on 2. So my x plus 1 all squared is equal to 5 on 2. Now, if I wanted that in the completed square form, I would just subtract the 5 on 2 and pop it over this side, but I don't want that. I actually this time going to solve for x. We're going to find what x actually is. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to take the square root of this side, square root of this side. So now I'm going to have x plus 1 is equal to plus or minus root 5 on 2. So now I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. There it is. So x is equal to negative 1 plus or minus root 5 on 2. And I could say negative 1 plus this and work out what that is. I go negative 1 minus this and work out what this is. And I've got 2 separate answers. I'm not going to do that in this case. I'm just going to show you how we can get that point. And that's the answer, but we can take it further, obviously.